Hey guys, and welcome back to another one of my videos. So today we're just going to be quickly going over the VRChat standard material. So if you're not using any shaders, I'm just going to go over the entire standard material, show you what everything does, and get you set so you can use it on your avatar. So without further ado, let's get into it. So when in Unity, let's create our material. So we're going to right click on an empty space, going to create material, and here as you can see, you're going to have your standard material. Now, before we go over these settings here, if you would want to use your standard material on your actual avatar, I would suggest from standard, you switch it to standard specular setup. This just gives you a little bit more option and freedom, but I would advise you using this on your avatar. So albedo is where your texture goes. So where your basic body textures, default body textures go. You're going to drag them in the albedo. In the specular is where you're going to use your map that kind of looks like this, and this is basically a shiny map. So in my case, I can show you, you see my nose is very shiny, and you can basically nitpick points on what you want to be shiny, so like tongue, nose, beans, whatever you want. Now this works weird because sometimes the parts that you want to glow are going to be black with white background, and sometimes it's going to be opposite. So you kind of have to play around with that, as in my case it was very weird. Here is where you can change the color of your material, so you can change it to any color. And then above that, you have opaque, cutout, fade, and transparent. Now, if you're wanting to create, let's say, lens on your glasses, then you're able to switch from opaque to transparent. You're going to press on the color it just slight gray, and you're going to move this alpha to the left. Now I would advise applying this to your actual avatar so you see it in real time. So I know this looks creepy, but bear with me. This is how you can control the transparency right here. So if you have glasses on your avatar, you can do that. And as well as you can mess with the smoothness here. And you can mess with the smoothness and metallic. This will give you like a little bit of shininess to your lens. So you can do that if you want. Or if you have some avatar parts that you want to be transparent, then you can do that. If you're using a set of textures that has a transparent background and you have some parts of your avatar like deleted, let's say if you delete like parts of your arm so you don't want it to clip to your body, instead of opaque on your material, you're going to use cutout. This is going to help you, and that's going to basically delete those parts, make them completely invisible. And in the smoothness here, you're basically able to control how smooth something is. So if you're trying to pull off that kind of plastic effect, to say like that, so basically it's really shiny, then you're able to just drag this all the way to the right, and that should do the trick. Next, we have normal map. This map is usually, you get it with every avatar nowadays, and this kind of basically, they can range from different styles, but what this is basically like a slight fur shader or like a slight fur material to give your avatar more of a realistic look. So you have a normal map, as well as you have a height map. Now, height map can be used in different kind of ways. In my case, I used it on my collar to give it like this 3D transparent look. I made a whole video on this, so if you're strictly interested in that, you can check it out. But yeah, height map is basically pretty self-explanatory. You can apply it to your textures, mess with the sliders here, and then basically your your textures are gonna pop, or yeah. Occlusions is basically like a shade map, to say it like that. So you have parts of your avatar that are going to be much more darker than the rest of the body. You can use this to also make your avatar a little bit realistic and have some real-time shading, to say it like that. Now, how to actually make this map, I have no clue. Mine just came with my avatar, but you can see here how it looks like. It has that white and black effect. So yeah. Next we have is detail mask. Now, detail mask is pretty much kind of like the height map, but again, it really depends on how you use it. In my case, and I think in everyone's case, I don't think you're going to use the detail mask. It is just not something that you use. But if your avatar comes with a detail mask, then you can use it here. Now, emissions is pretty important. Emissions is basically in emissions, you need to enable them. And right here, you're going to import your emission mask. This is what they look like. This basically just makes parts of your avatar more glowy. So in like a really dark environment, you can make certain parts of your avatar glow. So let's say if you are looking for like a realistic avatar, I would say make your beans and eyes and maybe teeth glow in the dark, just so that your avatar is a little bit more alive and not completely black. There's all sorts of different emission masks and different styles and the way you make them. But if you're strictly interested in emission masks, I as well have a video on this, and I will link it all in the description. Now, before we continue, in the emission mask, you can control basically how bright it is. So if you set it to white, it's going to be completely bright. And if you set it to black, it's basically not going to be affected. So I found a sweet spot is kind of like right here, a little bit kind of like in the middle of the gray area. That is where you want your emission mask to be if you're looking for like that realistic look. Now, these numbers here, both of these layers here, they can be used in a very interesting way. So let's say that you have a PNG, like a square PNG, and then you can apply it to your clothing, basically multiply it. So it can be like 3x3, and you're basically able to texture your clothing with just one PNG. I as well have a video on this. I'm not gonna go over into detail too much here, so you can check that out if you want. Now, in the secondary maps, we have detailed albedo X2 and a normal map. So I personally never played around with these, but honestly, I think for the most part, no one is going to touch these here. But in case if you have two normal maps, then you're able to use them here. And if you have two detail masks or albedo, then you're able to use them here. But for the most part, I don't think anyone is going to use this. And the rest of these bottom settings here, again, I don't think anyone is going to be using, but all of them are pretty self-explanatory. But that would do it for your standard material. I hope that this helped you out. Let me know down in the comments if you have some questions, or you can reach out to me or any of my social medias. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you around. Peace.